we're going to do a quick tech tool playground tip with Diana.
I'm Diana Fliginger. I'm a fifth year English and social studies teacher out at Nedrose, which is on the east side of Minot. I teach freshman English, junior English, and world history.
So you're going to talk to us today about Classroomscreen. I'm really excited because I do not know this tool, so I can't wait to hear about it.
All right. So this is Classroomscreen. It is an ideal landing page that just kind of helps organize your day and keep things going. And it has tremendous features and it's free. So you can go through and, choose your background. And every time you log in, it will randomly choose a new one. And it has some great features. I'm most likely to use the notepad. And so I just post, what are we doing today? And you just go through and post what you're up to. And you can adjust the font so that things are, visible throughout your room. But in those first few hectic moments of class, it really helps synchronize, what do students need? What should they be doing as they come in the room? And, it's such a great alternative compared to being asked 17 times. And if you're consistent with it, that also means then that kids just point to the board if somebody asks, what are we doing today? And they take that ownership.
So as students come into the classroom, you have this projected with the daily agenda, kind of your to-do list.
Yes. And so, I don't give them my full lesson plan. They don't need that, but just what are we doing today? I really am a big believer in daily time for reading. I read 180 Days from Penny Kittle and Kelly Gallagher last year. And so we read, unless we're testing, every single day for at least 10 minutes. And I set up a timer for that. And so it just goes down. It has a subtle chime. You can actually play with the sound effects within it.
Okay.
There's a Nintendo Mario sound, which is kind of fun.
That's good nostalgia.
It is. And so I don't usually use that. I just go for the default chime. Important thing to remember is turn down your speaker volume or you will scare a room full of freshmen. And so it's just a nice way to kind of keep people focused on where we're at. If you're doing a timed activity, you can put up what it is that you need. You can also, if you're a PE teacher, use it like for laps or to reset. If you were doing like a stations activity, you can switch through that way.
Yeah, sure. If you were doing rotations or if you're doing like a little speed dating activity where kids are, that stand up, meet up, share kind of situation, kind of gallery walks, all kinds of things. And that is a built-in tool. I'm seeing the toolbar along the bottom. And so within this Classroomscreen, that's one of the tools that's just built right in that you can pop up.
And so there's these 10 different widgets. And you could put all of them up if you wanted to. That gets a little cluttered for my taste. I've also used the traffic light just in terms of, can we move right now or can we not? I use flexible seating. And so sometimes it's a good time to move and sometimes it's not. And this kind of is one way that you can help show that. And so you just click. You could also, I imagine if you were teaching younger kids, use it as like a behavior scale for your group. You also have an option for your volume of, if we're working, are we working in silence? Can you ask a neighbor? Like, what kind of activity is it? And you can also click and drag these around within the screen. So I like those options as well. There's a drawing tool as well as a QR code, which is nice. And there is random names.
And then it will do that name randomizer for you of who needs to share next or who's going to be a team lead for something.
Yes, and that is a feature in Power School. I learned that this year, but this is another place where you can have that.
It is cool that that stuff can just all be right up there and you're not opening multiple things.
Yes, especially if you have only one computer in your room and so you're, sharing a screen with your students. This is a nice way to have something up so that kids can see what the, game plan for the day is, but you can be getting what you need on your screen ready to go at the same time.
So you have this up. Ooh, dice rolling option there. Yes. That's a great. So number the kids, and now you, like, the fives all now have to present or share something.
Mm-hmm. You can save within this list of your random name file. And so it's just a way to copy and paste in what you've had.
Sure.
I don't usually use this to save. I mostly just see it as a way to, like, keep track of all of those things that we think about in the middle of a day, just so that I don't forget something. Because sometimes if I don't put hand out lunch menus right down at the start of my cardinal time, which is our study hall period before lunch, that's not going to happen. There's just too many other things to think about.
Right, as teachers, there's just too many other things going on. Even if you did forget, if you had it typed up there, students would see they're supposed to be getting the lunch menu, and then they can remind you.
Yes, and even just putting, and then, whatever it is that you need is a way to make sure that happens.
This is cool. Can I add my own photos as part of the background slides?
I've never tried that. It does look like that is something that can be done.
If there was something that was thematic, this would be a cool way to have a bell ringer tied right in, right? So you have this image, and then you have a journal prompt on your little text slide, and then you're instructing students to journal about whatever is on the screen so that it's tied right together.
And depending on your school's tech level, you can actually embed the QR code. So then students can come in and take a picture and, get the QR code to go to whatever link on their device that you want them to have.
So same thing, you could set up an activity. If your students, to your point at the beginning, Diana, if your students are used to, what are we doing today? You go here. And if your first instruction is go to use your phone to go to the QR code and start this activity, kids can come in and be scanning that and loading that information, and then they're ready to go by the time the bell rings.
Exactly. So it works really well. The one feature that I've found doesn't work for me is the sound level monitor. Some of my kids found that to be a great way to manipulate the situation.
Though in theory, would monitor the level of sound in the classroom?
Yes, it's tied to your computer speakers, but it monitors that level of volume. So it's not foolproof, but perhaps for younger students, they'd enjoy that. My older kids didn't go for it at all. But it is one of the options. You can also tie in exit tickets, which you can set up simply to ask, what did you think of today's lesson, and have them vote on that. So they can either just touch screen, because, if you're using a smartboard, they can just tap as they go. You can also link that with either a QR code or another link, and then have them vote there.
So whether they're coming or going, so again, like a bell ringer coming in, you could have a question. Can you change the answers, or it's just the smiley face?
I believe it is strictly the smiley face options, which I suppose you could do it like for that fist to 5 kind of concept.
Yeah.
Of, how do you feel about understanding the conflict in Romeo and Juliet?
And if it's already up and you can build in some of these tools, I'm all for being able to use a couple tools to do everything that I want to do, instead of having to use 10 different things. So that's another nice quick check.
The other thing I liked about this is that compared with the applications that we get with our software for our smart boards, this is so much more intuitive. I always felt like anything with my active board required all of these layers and levels of complication that just never felt worth it to have just a few minutes of putting something up on the board.
That makes sense.
So the red and green over here is what links you to the exit ticket. And then this is where you can download what you've had.
I could, if I did have like the QR code was linking to something and I had the review, I could download that, and students who were absent, I could email this to them and it would give them a quick review of what was going on today.
Yes, and that would be a fabulous way to use this.
Now, does it save day to day, or do I create a new one each day?
I create a new one each day. It just takes seconds, so I've never explored whether or not it's possible to save it, but I don't believe that it is.
And do I need an account?
So all you need to type in is right up here, pops up at the background screen, and you can start using it. There's no accounts, there's no ads. It's just here and free to use. And I mean, I use the same one from my third and fourth hour with my juniors. Mm-hmm. I just delete what I have and then type what I need for my freshmen.
So it's quick. You can do this during passing time.
Yes.
And have it ready for the next group. Because like you said, you're not giving them all the information. You're giving them the key to-do list, the key objectives for the day.
Yes.
I did something similar to this, but I had a PowerPoint for the week. So each day had a welcome slide, and it would have our objectives for the day and anything, like just any reminders. And then right within that PowerPoint, I would embed anything else that I was using for my lessons. So I would post that whole slide deck to my teacher webpage. It outlines everything that we did and has all of the handouts linked in it. So if you were absent, all you need to do is open the slide deck. And so I like that this, though, is a cleaner, simplified version of that is just readily available to put together.
I just find that when people know what to expect, it cuts down on all kinds of rough transitions and behavioral things, because you can plan for. So once we're done with reading, we're going to review. And, whatever the review activities are going to be, that helps kids kind of prepare for that.
That's a great reminder that these young brains, they want a little bit of information so that some of those questions are taken care of. This is awesome. I love the simplicity and the elegance of this. Like, it looks lovely. It seems super user-friendly and intuitive. And this is just a great free resource for teachers. Thanks for sharing this, Diana.
Oh, you're welcome.